Hey everybody, Coach Doug. Again, I always want to know, do I have any sound? And tonight, all right, tonight is a pretty cool night. I am pretty excited. I have one of my very, very good friends, colleagues, and a pretty awesome dude coming on tonight. He is an award-winning and top 100 golf magazine recognized coach. He is the man when it comes to finance. He is the one and the only Jason Sutton. The guru, right
Pretty
there.
good timing.
Awesome.
It worked.
Buddy. I seamlessly played that in there. That was like
That
awesome.
was good. I tried this the other night and I couldn't get people to join.
Oh man.
There's so many. I think there's so many coaches doing this that we broke the internet the other night. We broke Instagram.
It's funny. I'm trying to just do, keep it to the same time, trying to just, I'm only going to do it on weekdays, but like there is so much information. I mean, one of the really cool things is that, thank you, by the way, for coming on, buddy. It's so nice to face. It's amazing just to talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
We can talk about, hey, hack motion, wrist angles, all this stuff, right? That could be something that, I think is a very cool thing for people to tune into. What I've been finding is that, by doing this a little differently, kind of almost a mini guru podcast, if you want to say.
Well, we can get into some swing stuff later, too, if we got enough people hanging around.
We can. I mean, the one thing I'm saying is, like, if people have any questions, don't forget to hit those little question marks down on the bottom.
Yeah.
This guy has a plethora of knowledge. He knows.
I'm just old.
Been around
a long time.
We're both old, dude. I shave off all the gray, right? I shave off all the gray.
So I shaved my beard too, by the way. You see that? I was going full. You had it going too, man.
I had it going on full, and you know what? I looked like my dad. Like I'm a doppelganger, right? I look really old. I was like,
I got some funny texts from some friends that were cracking on me about that because I'm big on like, as you are clean shaven, professional, and I was like, dude, what's going on? Are you okay? Right. I'm like, yeah, just why not? I've never had the time like this,
right,
to like do something like grow a beard. So I thought, well, shoot, now I look even more like my son.
Yes.
He looks more like me, like they said.
Yes.
He didn't like that.
You guys are twins, man. Absolutely.
I know.
Oh man.
Funny.
Now is your wife at home as well, working from home?
Yeah, she's working from home. She's supporting the family right now.
Wow.
So I'm fortunate that she can do her job.
Yeah.
She works for a big corporate company here in Charlotte, and they can work remotely from home. Without that, man, I don't know. It's this thing's going to get ugly here, I think, pretty quick for people that
I think
rely on
I think
teaching
it's really
for money.
Us. Yeah, exactly. Money. I think it's going to make us really really dig deep.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the things I think you have an advantage, and I mean, when you're able to, like, even just going to your center, right, and being just like, you could conduct lessons there. In as far as, I loved when you were doing it before everybody got shut down.
Yeah.
I loved watching your stuff. Hey, you had gloves on, you were keeping the distance.
Yeah.
It can be done. And I think what has to happen is we have to get that curve flatter.
Sure.
And I mean, this is not by all means not a shot, but I mean, fortunately for us up here in Canada, our cases aren't anywhere close to what you have in the States.
Yeah. Well, we're shut down. So I'm not teaching as of whatever, 2 weeks ago. I don't know what day I'm on now, but I'm just thinking, like, it's weird. It's a weird deal because our golf course is open to walk.
Right.
Right. So there's no cards. So they have the tee sheets full. People just show up and go walk. And I've played 5 rounds of golf in the last 2.5 weeks, just walking with my son and with some of my members. So I can give a sort of a playing lesson.
Right.
And I can probably do a putting lesson, which I'll probably start doing a little bit of if this thing continues. But I just can't do. Our range is closed. I can't use my building.
Oh, that's too bad. Could you do some? Could you get into the building and do some online stuff?
I could. Yeah. I mean, well, I don't. Yeah, I'm doing some stuff through my app. obviously with
Right.
online, getting ready to crank up here pretty big. But
Okay.
yeah, I can go get in my building and do a video or something, right? I've been doing the videos inside because I want to be relatable to
What's going on?
what's going on, and you
Yeah.
know, the people out there that are stuck inside and doing the right thing. I want to speak to them. Hey, what can you do inside? I don't want to show them a video of me in my nice teaching building.
Yeah. That's
You know
true.
what I mean? Like, I mean, I can do that, but it's like, you know, okay, great. If you got a track man and, you
Yeah.
know, video and stuff, but yeah,
I'm
so I could
sure Nick
do
would,
that.
you brought Trackman home and he could like hit in the backyard.
I could.
There you go. Exactly. He'd be great. How's he doing? Managing with this? What?
Body track. The whole man room's about to become a studio here really quick if this thing continues.
No kidding. There's gonna be Nick's like, yeah, exactly. Studio, exactly.
Yeah.
To bring it there for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. How's he been managing with this?
He's good, man. He's been playing golf like every day. You know, like, I mean, that's all he's got. He's got online school, right? Mm-hmm. So they're doing everything online. So once he gets his work done, you know, he's been playing and just getting after it. I mean, that's all he's, you know, he's.
Well, I guess all that is they're really.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's kind of all you can do right now. Exactly. So he's doing okay. He's so sorry for him.
How you doing?
What's that?
How are Robbie and Seth?
Good. I mean, yeah, I kind of keep in touch with them every couple of days to make sure they're okay. Seth went home, so he's spending time with his family.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's by himself, so he didn't really have to stay.
No.
Before everything got shut down, we kind of knew it was coming. We actually got shut down. We knew like a day ahead, so like he took off and just, you know, went to see his parents, and Robbie's doing the same thing. We're just kind of hunkered down. He's like trying to get outdoors, and this is where I'm really missing running. Like I would be.
Oh yeah.
I'd be running so many miles right now. I've been working out like a madman. So I'm going to come out of this thing looking like a linebacker, but
it'd be like
I'm putting on some muscle, but it's like, you know, it's all you can do. I get in the basement. I've got a little gym and I can go down and lift and do all that stuff. But
now,
I would love to have the ability to run.
Ask you to be the bouncer. Sure Talk's going to ask you to be bouncer at Open Forum. Ladies on your podcast. There you go.
I'm going to look like Bryson DeChambeau when I come out of this thing.
Absolutely. 100%. Oh man. Well, listen, we're gonna get into something. I sent you those questions just because I wanted to kind of give you an idea of what's going on. But everybody, this gentleman here is, you know, if you don't follow the Golf Guru podcast, you need to download it. You need to subscribe. Probably one of the most relevant and awesome podcasts from a coaching standpoint on the airwaves in golf. Absolutely. And he's got kick-ass guests. I mean, if you want to laugh, go search the Chris Trevino interviews because they are spectacular. If you really want to kick out of it, listen to it at 1.5 speed faster.
Oh, jeez.
And Chris sounds like he's just on speed. So it's fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, mentoring. So I talk about Robbie and Seth. Two phenomenal young men. I've got much love and respect for those two. You are an amazing pro, and I'm not blowing smoke when I say this. You mentor pros so well, and I've watched you do this for the last 9 years. Mm-hmm. You know, essentially, you know, if we don't mentor pros, the future of golf coaching is going to suffer. And one of the things that you do very well is you have mentored these young pros very, very well. So what are the key elements here, bro? Other than being a fantastic man, what are the key elements here about mentoring young pros? What are some of the key things that people need to look for in their mentors?
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it. I'm 100% right now. I'm 7 for 7. Or, you know, putting young people into better jobs, which is
that's a pretty amazing
something I'm trying to hang my hat on for a second. I'd say honestly, I took some notes, which is unlike me, but I wanted to share some things that just thoughts, right? I mean, this is what we're here for.
Absolutely, buddy. Share away. Love
because, you know, I think mentoring, the first thing that came to mind is really mentoring is a two-way street, right? It's not about me acting like I know everything and telling somebody what to do. It's not that. It's basically, it's a team effort. So you have to have young people, or even people. I mean, I don't think mentoring doesn't have to be for a young person, right? I mean, I have mentoring other people that are similar age that want help, right? I mean, I think it's just about helping your fellow man or your friends. But honestly, all the mistakes that I made coming up through the business, being a head professional, I think has helped me a ton.
Yep.
Because I think I'm hiring better, like, which is not an easy thing to do.
No.
I'm hiring people that want to learn and hiring people that want to sort of continue on that path that I was on and I'm still on. I think that's number one. Number two is something that I learned early on as a head pro is I'm accountable to my staff, right? So if I'm messing around and doing the wrong things, then they're going to check me, right?
100%.
So that's a big part of it. I think that I've learned too. It's just not, when you're the boss, it doesn't mean you can just do whatever you want. Like I feel like that, I'm not a micromanage type of boss. I feel like if I've got to motivate my guys to go out and get the information and do the certifications and, be busy and enjoy what they do, then they're just in the wrong position. Anyways, I've hired poorly, right? And I've been very fortunate to have people underneath me that want to get better and want to learn, and that's when it's fun, right? So our mantra at the golf school, and something I learned from my mentor Dana Rader, is iron sharpens iron, right? So I get better because my young guys are getting better. Like Robbie and Seth challenge me every day, right? So when I see them learning something new, they share it with me. Or if they ask me a question I don't know, I'm going to find out the answer through the connections and the relationships that I've built with other smart coaches or other smart people, and we get better together, right? So it's sort of, the whole, the boats that float to the top.
Instagram, I love you.
It's not that one person's better. We're all sort of getting better together, and I think that's the vibe. Hopefully, put out. It'll be cool if they join tonight. I don't know what they're doing, but they could probably answer the question better than me. I'm just kind of
Instagram, you are pissing me off. Anyways, oh man, let's try this one more time or another time. Getting booted out of Instagram. You wonder if it's because we're breaking the internet because it's so busy, eh? It's crazy busy. Anyways, thanks for joining me back. We're going to get back into this. I'm hoping Jason comes back, logs back into me. Here he comes. All right. View. All right. Golf Guru TV. There we go. Thank you for coming back. So we'll see. And
it couldn't go that smoothly.
No. This is what happened to me with Matt Walter last night. I had Matty on, and it was 10 minutes in. It's like, nope, you're out.
Yeah, it just kicks you off. I don't think it's strong enough to handle all this traffic. But
so getting back to your mentoring part, so you've hired better.
Yeah. So one was hiring better. Two was being accountable to my staff. It's trying to set the example of being a continuous learner. Leading by example, learning together, as we talked about, iron sharpens iron. And then number three would be just investing my time in the guys, right? So it's taking the time to watch them teach, taking the time to take notes and give them feedback afterwards. Staff meetings and just phone calls and texts of encouragement. Those are the things that I try to do on a daily basis. Because we're so busy at the club, a lot of times, we don't have time to even say hello. Some days we're going in different directions, but I'll hear them say something in a lesson, or I'll catch a little bit of a lesson. I just see the growth in the stuff that we talked about in training, and just them watching me teach all the time, and that's what makes it worth it. And just showing them that I care about them as a person and as a professional, I think are really the top three that kind of come to mind.
Well, those are awesome answers. And one of the things I love is that the 7 out of 7, that is a great track record. And for people, not too many can say that they've placed 7 out of 7, right? So it's a pretty cool thing when you look at this. I really think that is how you keep getting great people. And the two you have right now are two fantastic young men.
Yeah, they're rock stars.
right? And Seth Mers, you know, really honestly, truly, when I got the opportunity to come and hang out with you for that day, I mean, watching Seth, I mean, it was really great to watch his energy and his excitement and all that stuff. It was unfortunate I didn't get to see, you know, I didn't get a chance to see Robbie, but I got to hang out with him at coach camp. And the one thing about Robbie is, man, he is always learning. He is going over this country, all over your country, and spending his, you know, spending time to go learn and ask questions, and fill that head of his full of great information, right?
He is, yeah. He's racked up more certifications, I think, in the last 2 years than most do in a career. And he's great, and it's great because, I mean, I always make him come back and share it with the staff, and, you know, that just makes him better. His presentation skills are getting better. He's really, you know, come out of his shell in the last year, and I'm just so proud of him and Seth. I mean, Seth's like a younger version of you, man. He's got the energy, you know. The kids, like, he's great with the kids, and he's just, I mean, it just makes it easy on me, and it's just so cool to watch.
Well, when he decided, I mean, when he flipped the script on me, and I mean, he gave me the Fast Five. I mean, you guys were awesome, right?
Yeah.
It was very cool, man. So, you know what? Your podcast, and you know what, Jay, I mean, being first and foremost, like, been subscribing since, you know, almost inception, and you've had such amazing people on your podcast. You know what, one of the things that I felt so very honored that you asked me when I came to see it, and it wasn't something that I was actually expecting, and
you got to do it live, which is even better.
Did, and that was the good part. I mean, you know what, well, there you go. Exactly. I got a little Spanish going on tonight there.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things, is being able to go in and visit and spend the time with you. Your podcast is now a labor of love for you. And one of the things, it's a must-have for, I think, golf coaches and golf professionals, because you have such a vast array of people and you touch on so many different subjects, right? Because like, even our talk wasn't necessarily wrist angles and impacts.
No, I want it to be more than that, you know, and that was my goal.
Right.
There's enough podcasts out there that, you know, talking about how to get better at golf.
Right.
I mean, you kind of sort of have to find your niche, and this is just my lane, right? I mean, I've been on this sort of personal development journey for 25 years, and it's fun for me to share some of my stories. But more than anything, it's just, I just want to get people talking about their daily habits and their success stories and their failures and all the stuff that's what I want. I mean, again, it's selfish because, again, if any advertisers are out there and want to invest in the show, that would be great. But
it really
I just do it because I want to share with people and I want to give back, right? I mean, I want to grow this industry, and I just want to help others to get better. And the way I've been fortunate to do that over the years. So I wanted it to be different, right? I wanted it to have a little different vibe. It's cool. Like, the last couple of weeks, I've gotten a couple of tour players on because they're down too, right? They're a little easier to get some time with. And had Scott Stallings on last night, which was fantastic. You need to listen to that one. That guy is just really, really cool, and such a great message of more than golf. Like, it was so much more than, you know, his journey in golf. It's more of his journey in life, and that's the kind of stuff that I want to get out of my guests. So thank you for bringing that. Thank you for being such a great guest. And
thank you.
We'll probably do a part 2 at some point. It comes full circle, but I appreciate it.
No, listen, the one thing, like I said, like, this is it's really neat because you talk about Scott Stallings and getting a chance to talk to a tour player. I have a friend he's the agent of Victor Perez. Victor Perez has gone from 400 to 40th in 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
And he was 3 under at the Players Championship after the first round. Didn't make a bogey, right? In his very first PGA Tour event. And it was really cool because I had him on last week, and we got a chance to talk about what it's like, you know, to have somebody have that rise and how it happened. And you don't get that because they're always so busy and they're traveling, right? And they're moving all over the place. Right. And I mean, the really great part about it is it's sharing of experiences and information and stuff that might just click with people. And I mean, one of the things, and I got to say this about our experience on the podcast together, was the email you got a week later of a golf professional who said he listened to our podcast and he had tears in his eyes because it was so very parallel to his existence in his life and what he wanted to get out of being a golf professional. I mean, it gave me goosebumps when you forwarded it to me, right? And it's like, this is the reason why this podcast, and again, I can't stress this enough, people. If you're not following the Guru podcast, you better, because it's pretty awesome. All right.
I don't know. Yeah, it's and that your question I know was, you know, what do I get out of it? I mean, obviously I get to build and strengthen relationships with my guests, but it's the messages and the emails and the little DMs that people send me every day that say they've been changed or it's affected their life in a positive way. That's what keeps me going, man. I mean, it's so cool. Like, I never ever dreamed that it would have that big of an impact on people, you know, much less our colleagues and the people that we work with and call friends. But I mean, it's just, I don't know.
Cool ones.
Weird.
Some of the cool ones are, you know, like some of the stories that have been just amazing. Like I said, Chris Trevino's story about how he learned how to play golf and all this stuff is just absolutely bar none one of the best. Yeah. But like listening to you do the group at the house during the PGA show is like, and when you get a chance to have that many, you know, golf professionals in a room who aren't like, whose heads aren't so big they can't fit in the room.
Yeah.
It's amazing to listen and learn from, you know, some of the guys that we follow that you don't necessarily get a chance to hear to because, hey, Rob Holding's on the other side of the country in Vancouver. And you know, same with Trevino. He's in California.
That guy. Yeah. I mean, I got to spend a lot of time with Rob at this past show. It's like, you don't know kind of who you're going to get to spend more time with. And I spent so much time with him. I admire him and respect him so much. And he actually sent me a note last night, just making sure I was okay. You know what I mean? It's just, that's the kind of guy he is. And that's the stuff.
Totally.
That's the stuff that's going to happen, I think, during this pandemic is hopefully we're going to obviously create some new habits and communicate better. And we're going to get closer as humans. Right. And especially in our industry, I think we're definitely seeing that with a lot of these IG lives and stuff.
So you and I have had some great chats about family, our faith, right? And this kind of stuff. Right?
Keeps me sane, right?
Exactly. It's kind of like those are essentials in our lives that you know, we need to help us. And I mean, we have it's really eerily parallel, the fact that our kids are almost the same ages and we're almost the same age, you know, age, almost had the same career paths. But one of the things I can say is, what can you tell those young coaches watching now, because you and I are in our 50s, what essentials they need to do? And I know you know, what are the essentials they need to go and do to be the very best? Because it's like, it'd be like if we were talking to our younger selves. Yeah.
I mean, I made a list of just kind of
awesome
of some stuff that came to mind. Because we can go in a lot of different directions here, right? It's like, what do you do as far as acquiring information? But I think what you're asking more is about character traits.
Sure.
Right? And I think number one that comes to mind is, you know, everybody wants to say, follow your passion. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that part of it, especially getting into the business. If we had to look back at our early 20s and somebody said, I mean, it was funny the other night. I'm going to get off on a tangent here for a second. I was doing a live feed, and one of my first boss that I moved to Charlotte, Kurt Vogel, got on the thing on the feed, and he goes, "I always knew you were going to be a legend." I'm like, that's a bunch of crap right there. Like, there's no chance when you met me at 26 or 7 that you knew that. I mean, you just don't. You know what I mean? It's hard to tell. So, back to my list is the first word that comes to mind is curiosity, right? So I think whatever you are interested in doing, and this goes for not necessarily just teaching pros, but whatever part of the business that you're trying to get into, I always say try to be the best version of yourself. Try to be the best, right? And again, that doesn't mean stepping on other people to get to number one. and I've been very openly on my podcast, talked several times about it. I want to be number one. I want to be ranked number one, but I want to do it the right way. I'm not going to do it by, bashing other coaches. I'm just going to do it by trying to be, if the best version of Jason Sutton is number one, then that's cool. If it's number 50, I'm cool with that too. Right. So trying to be the best version of yourself. Number two, I think, is the willingness to get out of your comfort zone. Right. And this is something that I struggled with as a young pro. I was super backward. I was very shy. I put off a very interesting vibe. Yeah. You want to add to that?
No, I was going to say, yeah, I've always been shy.
Yeah. So I always say I'm a trained introvert. Right. So early on, like I almost got fired from my first assistant's job because I had trouble speaking to members.
Really?
Oh yeah. I didn't, you don't know what you don't know. And I was just like, all right, I'm just being myself. I wasn't cocky or anything, but sometimes it came across that way.
Sure.
So that was a big thing of getting, so once especially once I started working for Dana and I started setting goals, higher achieving goals of being a top coach, I knew that one of my weaknesses was, being able to present. I was in a golf school setting, so I was doing a lot of, presenting to groups and
sure.
Just in general, I think every lesson is a presentation, but so I had to be better at that. So I took steps to get better. I took classes. I went to Toastmasters. I practiced in front of the mirror. I did, I started giving speeches that made me super, super uncomfortable. Right. I mean, I sucked. Right. I mean, again, but you know what? I kept doing it, kept showing up, kept doing the speeches, and start getting a little bit better. And it's funny how people see you later in your career, like, oh, wow, he's a pretty good public speaker. I'm like, dude, if you just seen me from the beginning, it's like, but you kind of have to have that vision. So not being afraid to fail is on my list, right?
Nice.
You can't teach. And I always tell my guys, like, you can't teach afraid of making a mistake, right?
No.
So, say what you think you need to say. Hey, there's Robbie. What's up, man?
I know Robbie came in.
You just showed up, and we were just talking about you. So you can't be afraid to fail. You can't be afraid to make mistakes. I always say, if you have some type of reflection after a lesson or after a situation happens, don't try not to make that mistake again. Figure out another solution to that particular problem or that personality that you're dealing with or that person that you're teaching. So that's a big one, I think. Another one for me is be an empty cup. I don't know if you've ever heard the story. Yeah. It's about the old Zen master that basically travels thousands of miles to see his guru and proceeds to just start telling him everything that he knows. And the guru says, son, you're a cup full of dirt. There's no room for me to put any new information in because you're basically think you know it all. So you can't ever kind of always have that beginner's mindset, I think is a very, very important thing. Because it's very difficult. I struggled with that as I started to gain some success and some respect as I came up through the ranks. Then, when you start getting overconfident, that's a very bad place to be.
That is very, very slope, man. You know what? A couple things I just want to say.
Yeah.
Like failure. Don't be afraid to fail. I mean, you and I both, I think, have read Failing Forward by John Maxwell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great book.
It's one of the best books out there. And I mean, the things that you're saying there, it's like, I can often remember, like, for me in that empty cups kind of scenario is I've always felt like as a golf professional, because golf, as you know, golf wasn't my number one sport. I didn't even start playing until my 20s. I've always felt I've had, whenever I'm talking to anybody, yourself included, it's like I come to you with an empty cup and how can you fill it? Because I don't ever profess to know everything. I may come across very confident in what I'm saying, but man, I've always wondered, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a super important point for young professionals.
Yeah.
Right? Because they need to have that understanding of, hey, always come humble, always come willing to learn. Yeah. And if you have information, add in. And I guess you'll walk away with way more.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Be confident with what you're telling, because you're the expert, and you have to, regardless if it's wrong. completely wrong. I always say, we're salesmen, whether we like it or not. We're selling ideas to people that want to learn golf, right? So
100%.
you've got to have that sort of quality as well. The next one that I wrote down was learn empathy and people skills along with the teaching information, right? So it's the IQ versus the EQ, right? The emotional intelligence, I think, is very underrated in our business. And that's something that I struggle with as far as, can you learn that, right? I mean, is it teachable? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I ask that all the time on the podcast. I just think you have to figure out that you maybe aren't that good at it, or there's something missing, and then I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
I really think you don't realize it's missing until you get into that situation, right? Yeah. And you kind of have something happen to you, and you're kind of like, oh,
maybe it's me.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. I think self-awareness is a very, very difficult skill to acquire. But again, it kind of goes full circle with the failure thing and the having enough reflection to say, okay, maybe I wasn't as forthright in that situation. Maybe I should have said something different. Maybe I should have acted different. That's a difficult thing that people go through.
Do you think that the generations coming up behind us, their mentality and what they've been put in front of them is so me first, right? And it's such I find it's often a excuse-itis, and lack of patience, right? They always have excuses, and they can't be patient enough for it to happen, and they want it right now.
Yeah. But I mean, that's our fault.
Yeah, all our fault. But
my parenting skills can show that, and like you kind of trace it back to, technology, and I love it. I mean, I think it's just a different time, right? We can't blame it all on them. They're just doing what they know to do. You know what I'm saying? Like they get tired of us probably telling them. I know my son gets tired of me telling him to get his face out of his phone, but that's just what they know, right? I'd have been the same way. If I was 18 and had an iPhone, I would have been exactly the same way. It's just, but again, it's just don't, especially when you start hearing things from people that care about you and want you to get better over and over, there's probably something there, There's probably something to maybe pay attention to and step back and look at yourself and go, maybe there is a little bit of maybe I need to work on some things. That's all I'm saying.
That's a great point. I remember I gave a lesson to, I was trying to help my college basketball coach, who is not just he loves golf, an amazing golf historian. Like, he brought to me like the lineage of like where Jim Flick and Tosky and all these guys and who they learned from. He brought this to me, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This is insane. And he's right. But what he said to me one day is, he pulled me aside. He goes, Doug, he kept asking me questions about what I was trying to get him to do. And then afterwards he said to me, I think you need to take a step back at times and realize that the person in front of you may be trying to do it in a different way that you're trying to communicate it. And you need to take a step back and have that moment of, wait a minute, how do you change yourself? Because that way you're going to get more people understanding what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool moment.
Yeah. Well, we can go really deep on this, I get, because I've had a lot of time to reflect in the last 2 weeks.
Exactly.
I don't know if you listened to Zig Ziglar. I listened to a little bit of personal development. I try to every day, and I've been digging into some archives. The cat kicking world.
Oh no!
The cat kicking world story. Have you heard that one before? The cat kicking world. Have you heard that story?
No, actually, you were kind of delayed on that. Can you go back and say it again?
Yeah. I've had a lot of time to reflect the last few weeks since I've been digging into some archives of like some old personal development programs, and I said Zig Ziglar has a great story about it's a cat kicking world. Yeah, Robbie just said yes, it's good.
There you go.
But the point is, before that person shows up on your lesson tee, you don't know who's kicked their cat that day, right? I mean, you don't know if their wife yelled at them or their, what's going on. You just don't know. So you have to dig a little deeper. It's a whole story of like a lineage of like it started with this guy, and and it ends up with him yelling at his secretary, and then the secretary going home and yelling at her son, and then the son goes in and kicks the cat. And that it would have saved a lot of time if the boss would have just went to his secretary's home and just kicked the cat himself. It would have saved a whole lot of time. But it's just that's what we deal with every day with students is the baggage that they bring, and that's our jobs to sort of figure that out to where we make sure that their cup is as empty as it can be so they can receive the information that we're giving them that day.
Buddy, I'm going to use this empty cup visual till the cows go home. That's fantastic stuff, Guru. Absolutely amazing. All right, dude. When I got to be at your place, I got to meet your one young guy who had his lesson, and it was really cool because he didn't know how to kind of take me because, me, I'm Mr. Personality, and he's a pretty quiet kid. But
yeah.
I said to him, what other sport does he play? And he plays soccer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I said, oh, did you score any goals and stuff like this? And he was kind of got this little smirk inside of his face. And was like, yeah, I scored 3 or what. I can't remember how many he said, but the confidence and the cool little swagger he got when I asked him about his soccer was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you played multiple sports. I've played multiple sports.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally know that it helped me become a good golfer.
Yeah.
Right? Can you speak to that about kids and sport and how many sports they should play? And maybe when you think, because I know Nick played in multiple sports, but golf's his thing. But when did Nick kind of change, and what's your kind of view on that for me?
Yeah, that's a great topic because I'm not sure there's one right answer, but all I can tell you is the best kids that I work with right now, the kids that are sort of in that 10 to 14, 15 range are the best. They play multiple sports. I mean, John plays basketball, plays baseball, and he plays golf, and he's the best player on his team. He's just athletic. Hudson Schultz. I mean, there's a lot of kids that, they're really good they play basketball. I think that is very important to their early development as athletes to experience that. I don't have a problem with it.
No.
I think it, as far as Nick goes, like Nick played football. He was pretty good at football, but he was tiny. So, I mean, it wasn't, I didn't make the decision for him. He played football up through middle school and then he quit to play golf just because golf started getting better at golf.
Right.
And it was an easy decision for him because he just saw that he was better at that than football. He wasn't, going to be a 98-pound middle linebacker at the point, so I think once they get, but there's definitely a time, and I would say, it's probably going to be between 13 and 15 that they're going to have to make a decision to play golf if their goal is to play college golf.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it has to happen just because they have to show up for enough tournaments, the big tournaments where the coaches are going to be, that's really what it comes down to is when that, because I've got one kid that's sort of, he's at that level. He's going to play college golf, but he still plays AAU basketball. So he's going to have to decide at some point when that was tough on him. I mean, honestly, I think he handled it probably better than me.
Well, dude, what were the car rides home like? It must have been just like
just a lot of silence, man. Just to, you don't know what to say, right? So it's kind of, and a lot of tears, honestly, a lot of tough moments.
But as a parent, that must be, as a parent, it's killing you.
Yeah.
Coach, you're going, what do we got to do?
Yeah. Because it was very difficult for me to separate the dad the dad versus the coach, especially after tournaments. Something I learned a lot about, timing of when to ask about the round,
Right.
timing of what to say. I'm not great at, holding back my emotions. So I'm wanting to fix it right now. And it's
For
not,
sure.
it was the wrong time. Yeah, it's just the wrong time. So we went through
Right.
some struggles there. My wife was a big, big help. I mean, she was sort of she was his mental coach
Nice.
slash
Mom.
mediator. Yeah, mediator as far as like our relationship.
For sure.
So the thing is, he never really, like you said, he never believed that he couldn't play. That was the thing. Like, I had my doubts. I mean, because as a coach, if he's not your son, you're looking at a kid and you see those scores, you're going, maybe he just isn't good enough. So I had those kind of moments, but he never wavered. I mean, he's so strong. It's unbelievable. He always said, Dad, I'm going to come out of it. I'm going to come out of it. And we knew what we needed to do. Like, we had total agreement of what we needed to do technically with his golf swing. It just was hard for him to adapt to the growth, the strength, the extra speed, and kind of keeping it all together, right? So we completely switched his pattern after like the second or third tournament. Like, he finished like top 20 at one of the first big CGA tournaments his sophomore year, and then junior year he finishes dead last and couldn't find the golf course, right? So after that, we're like, okay, let's go back. This is one of the moments that I will say that I was a pretty good parent. Is after we came back from that tournament, and I said, look, let's put the clubs away for a couple of weeks. Let's go fishing.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So we just went, we fished. We went fishing every evening after work and got away from golf. I said, look, you don't have another tournament for like a month. Let's just let's just take a chill and let's go back to the drawing board. And we know what we need to do, but I think we're just too close to it right now. And let's just kind of take a break. So then we came back to it and we really got to work.
Do that.
What's that?
If I can say,
yeah.
Both as a coach and a parent. All right. And I mean, Matt Wilson has this question here that says, how do you balance being a dad versus a coach? And what advice would you give to parents and coaches based on this experience? Well, Matt, as you can see, we're getting into this. But the really cool part is that, dude, that's you being a dad, and being his dad, that was the best dad move I can guarantee you ever did. Because that takes a lot of gumption to be able to do that, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that, like, as far as what Matt's question is, early on, like, this was probably even, when we started getting good and we started really working hard. As far as the dad coach deal is, I started scheduling regular lessons for him because I wasn't doing that before. I wasn't giving him the time that I was giving, and he's playing against all the kids that I'm coaching.
Right.
How tough is that, right? So we started scheduling regular lessons, whether he needed them or not. It was just time for us to be together, make sure things were good. And this is where we're really starting to get good too. It was working. But I would verbally say, okay, I'm putting the coach hat on. You've got to put the student hat on. And we would have like almost a handshake before the lesson and say, okay, let's get to work.
That's
right? And then after that, I would say, hey, I'm the dad now, let's just hang out. Let's do whatever. Let's go pull, let's have some fun. So that's sort of how we separated it. Was we literally verbalized it. So then back to after the fishing thing, he had an AJGA coming up. And so we completely changed his pattern as far as we used to hit a big hook and a big draw because he had to, because he needed to hit it farther. But he was getting stuck and hitting foul balls to the right. So we switched to a cut and worked really, really. I bet we worked like 6 hours a day, like just crazy, just grinding. And that wasn't me. That was him wanting to do it, right? Like I said, he never wavered. I was probably the one who's going, man, this could be.
You're like,
I don't know, man. It's like, what's up? So, but I believed in him because I'd seen it. I'd seen him play at a level that I knew. I've seen enough good players and good kids come up through the ranks. I knew he had it deep inside. So after that, we go to the AJGAs down to Chesapeake Creek, and started seeing some glimmers. Like we started hitting little baby fades, start getting in play, saw the confidence level come up, and I'd seen, all the coaches that we were talking to, they'd all stopped texting him.
Right.
And I'd seen a couple coaches, and they came over to me and said, "Hey man, what's up?" I go, "Look, this kid's going to be amazing. His sophomore year in college, he's going to make some smart coach look really smart." That's what I kept telling him.
Oh.
I kept telling him that. I go, "Look, he's going through some stuff. He's going to come out the other side. He's going to be unbelievable." All right. So they didn't listen to me.
Nope.
So he starts to play better, starts trending. He actually had a pretty good last round there, shot like 72 or 73, left a few out there. So he goes back and he finishes in the top 10, the North Carolina junior that year, almost made it to the Final Four. Played great. So that's where it started kind of trending up. Then he goes into, and then again, but we're late junior year now, and we're reaching out to coaches, and he's telling them the story, and I'm reaching out to coaches, and he this again goes back to any junior golfers out there listening. Nick will tell you the same story, as he's back to almost as good as he was, but he's trending, and he's hitting it good, and looks like he can play again. So he got 2 offers to colleges that he couldn't accept because his ACT score wasn't high enough. Right. So that was the second sort of disappointment. Right. So we had a plan. We started talking to coaches again, and everything was looking like, we're gonna get a deal somewhere. Couldn't take it. It was a really high academic school. I'm not gonna say where it is, but then we had a backup plan at a smaller school, and same thing happened, and that really tore him up. Like that at that point, that was the hardest part, because now he's like, "Man, I've disappointed everybody." It was really, that was the toughest part.
The young man's psyche, and I mean, the one thing I can say, I know, he is a caring young man, and to disappoint those who love him and have poured into him and stuff, and those that were looking at him, that's a huge blow. And as a parent and coach, you hate to see that in their players and their kids.
Yeah, that was the hardest thing. I remember coming home from work, and he had just got off the phone with the coach that wanted him so bad, and said, "Hey, just couldn't make it happen." And it's not because he's a smart kid. He just didn't apply himself, at the right times in school. Didn't really test that well. Not a big deal. But we just hugged, and he cried, and we cried, and that was probably the toughest part, because we thought, well, like, man, what are we going to do? He's going into his senior year, and so we didn't give up hope, because he's playing well.
Yep.
So it goes into his senior high school year, which usually I don't put a whole lot of merit on high school golf. I don't care where you're at. It's not that big, it's not that important. But for him, it was important, because that's all he could play in right now. So I was like, dude, just got to keep getting better, and we got to just pray, and things will work out. And he had a great little senior year, made it to states as an individual.
Nice.
And had a couple, and he's still sending out emails to coaches. So that's when we got Marshall coach reached out to him, came and watched him in his conference tournament. He played pretty good. Offered him a scholarship.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we're like, okay, cool. So now we know, we're gonna play.
Yeah.
That was a big thing. And then kudos to Matt Grove out there. he said, look, you're too good of a player. I've got a couple of coaching friends that I'm gonna reach out to see if they have any interest as well. And that's when he reached out to Coach Brown at Tennessee Tech. And so then Coach Brown never saw him play.
Really?
How good is that? Yeah, never saw him.
Wow.
Took Matt. He goes, look, I got this kid. He's going to be really good. I think he's something to look at. So we got a visit to there after we visited Marshall, and he offered him. He said, well, go talk to Coach Brown, see what you think. And it was the craziest thing, man. It was like we go there, we meet with Coach Brown, and it was just, you just know when you know. Everybody says
Right.
that, you know, but it was just
Yeah.
crazy. You know, the visit went really well, and he said, "I'm definitely interested. Go home, you know, talk about it, and let's make a decision tomorrow. I'll call you." And on the way home, he said, "Dad, I really think that's where I should be." And I was
Amazing.
like, I totally agree. And it couldn't have worked out any better. He calls him the next day and he goes, Coach, I'm coming.
So
So it was, yeah, it was awesome. And then flash forward now, like I said, he starts and then that summer after he committed, like he started playing amazing, you know, started trending. He started playing some tournament in some amateur tournaments, starts playing really good.
yep.
Goes in qualifying and just play. He finishes third in qualifying, plays all 5 tournaments in the fall,
Yep.
shoots a few rounds under par, which college golf is hard, man.
Yeah, it's
It's
Carl's
not.
golf.
It's not like playing. It's not like playing junior golf. I mean, pitches
No,
sucked and greens were fast, and so
everybody's done.
it was good. And now, I mean, it was so disappointing because he's worked so hard, even in the off season. He's put on 15 pounds of muscle.
Woo.
He's hitting it 20, 25 yards farther. I mean, I'm telling you, man, sophomore year, I'm looking like a genius.
Exactly.
Dude, he's playing the best golf of his life right now. Literally, he's playing every day. I don't think he shot. He had 4 or 5 rounds over at Carmel under 70 in a row.
At Carmel?
Yeah,
Ah,
he shot 70. He shot 70 from the blacks on the South course the other day.
no, really?
7,600 yards. Yeah, I mean, it's like,
Oh, dude, that's fantastic.
he's playing well. So it was a shame. Yeah, well, you saw the first tournament of the year. He goes out and shoots even par for 3 rounds of the 10, right? So he was literally 1 shot back of the lead. So he was fired up to play, you know. So it's
Amazing. Well, you know, that's
it all ends up, you know, the story has a happy ending, but dude, it was some tough times.
this is just it. You know, like the stress it puts on you, your wife, your son. Like, you know, the one thing is like, and this is why. Thank you so much for sharing this story. I knew the story, and the cool part is yes, it's had an amazing happy ending, and I admire your son for his fortitude, his
Yeah.
give up. I think really what I take out of this, Jay, is look, you telling us how he did not give up, that he knew he was going to be okay. That is an incredible thing for a 16, 17-year-old young man to be able to know, I'm just going through this. Because as coaches, we have kids who come to us and goes, I can't find the hole. Oh my gosh, I'm awful. I'm horrible. Right?
Yeah, I mean, you probably, I don't know if you heard, I did the podcast with him, and it's tough to get a lot out of him, you know. I mean, I think we did a pretty good job of kind of painting the picture, but I don't know how he did. I mean, he's stronger than I ever thought he could be, you know. So proud of the way he came out of it, and you know, it's so cool to watch him play college golf now. That's the reward, like to go and just watch him play at that level. No, I mean, sky's the limit now, man. I'm telling you, he's where I thought he would be, but it's just I never thought the way he would get there.
Well, it's really funny because you just said what are the 5 most amazing words you have to say to your kid as a sport parent, which are I love watching you play. Oh. And dude, like John, you know, John O'Sullivan was playing Change the Game Project, right? And it's like, I just love watching you play. And this is why I think this story is such an amazing story to be told, because you're not just parent, you're coach, but your son didn't give up. And the really interesting thing is, you know, you and I could share the fact that, hey, we prayed about it. We wanted to make sure that, you know, hey, you relayed that story to me. I prayed for him about it, right? Like, I mean,
well, there's so many people that did that. I mean, I can't tell you, guys like you that reached out. I mean, you saw how I was hurting, and it was like it's not. I mean, if you didn't play college golf, we were going to be fine. I mean, he was going to college. You know what I mean? Like it can be a lot worse. Don't think about it. But it's just I know the time and the hard work that he put in over the years and the sacrifices that he made. And one of the big things that he shared on the podcast was, and this is good for the juniors out there, is don't try to make golf your life that early. Like, I
Right.
feel like he did that,
That's
you know, he
great.
did that on his own. Like, he didn't go out, he didn't do anything with his friends. And then his senior year, he branched out and like was hanging out with his buddies. He was going to, you know, just doing things that away from golf. And I think that helped him a ton.
Well,
He
I'm
was
that
going, you know, he was like student leader for the basketball and football. You know, I mean, it was all that stuff. I think is important. So don't get burnt out. He didn't get burnt out, but it was just like he was heading that way. I think, especially as the way he
But
was
I think
grinding.
great story for how, you know what, the struggle does happen. And even when you're trending in the right direction, you can
Yeah,
get derailed. And
yeah,
the really thing here is you have to make sure you trust your coach,
yeah,
you stick with the process. If it's not working, have those conversations. We are in the relationship business. You sit down, you work through it. You don't change, you don't detour and go think something new is going to be better. It's those people that know you the best for a reason. It doesn't matter that you're his parent, but as a coach side, you knew his golf swing better than anybody else. And
yeah,
the really cool part about this is getting through this. Now we can see that, he knew he was going to be all right.
yeah.
We all were kind of wondering, but the really cool thing is when
Sure.
you know you're going to be right.
Yeah, and I consulted. I mean, you don't know how many times I doubted what I was doing as a coach. So, I mean, I was
Sure.
constantly like, shout out to Tim Cook, my buddy at Hilton Head. He helped me a ton because sometimes you just need an objective view.
Oh, you need other.
Because I look at it all, you know, we came back from the DJ. We came back from the DJ. And we had another. That was sort of like the second little mini slump where he had a couple coaches come watch him, and he just completely crapped the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there going, man, I'm looking back at old video, and I'm looking at, and I said, look, I think we're on the right track here. And Tim helped me to go. He goes, look, that's exactly what I would do. Like, you guys are doing the right things. Just keep going, And Scott Calks, he helped me a ton.
That's awesome.
I would send him swings, and he
Sure.
would kind of go, yeah, you guys are on the right track. So it was, there was a village. I was not afraid to send him to somewhere else if I thought it could be better, but I just felt like, we were on the right path. It just hadn't happened yet. And like you said, it's tough to be patient, right? I mean, and it just clicked. And man, I'm telling you right now, I got to hold him back right now.